Welcome to our talk tonight. I'm very happy and humbled to be here. I hope that we can leave tonight with something positive, hope, something with us, all of us, something that helps us to go through life or go through tomorrow or this next week, makes it easier and brighter, our lives and our days. Tonight we're going to talk about the law of progress. We're going to start with the first slide saying humankind develops this evolutionary journey from a primitive state or state of nature. According to the spirit books, the state of nature represents the infancy of humankind, the departure point, the starting point of their intellectual and their moral development. We're talking about civilization. We're talking about mankind when it was just starting on this planet. Human beings are not meant to live forever on their nature, the nature of state of nature, like we are not meant to live forever as newborns. We all go through different phases. We all go through life growing, evolving, and expanding, learning new things. So this state of nature is transitory. They will come out of by a virtue of progress and civilization. So we all see through history how the mankind started like under the caves, and they come up to the point that we are right now. It is necessary that human beings develop intellectual and morally, and through the law of progress, the evolution of all beings incarnated and disincarnated, that all worlds of universe is regulated. So translating my thoughts, the law of progress will regulate everything, not only the human being, not only the mankind, but everything in nature, everything in the universe. We probably won't understand how the universe expands, even though scientists will show us pictures. But as humans, for us to really understand, comprehend how everything works, it's hard. But we have a notion that the universe is expanding, it's growing, it's evolving. And that happens at the nature, it happens in our planet, it happens to ourselves and the society itself. We need to understand that spirit only purifies itself with time. Everything takes time in nature. We see a beautiful rosebud, we see a beautiful flower, and we want to smell it, we want to see it bloom. And if we could, because most of us, we are anxious, we fight with our anxiety, we want to open up, we want to see it how it is. And everything in life has its own course, has its own time. So it takes time for us as well, as human beings, as spirit beings, to actually bloom. We take time, and sometimes we are hard on each other, on our kids, our spouse, our boss, co-workers, and sometimes we are hard on ourselves. We are our worst judges. We expect too much, and we wanted everything to be rushed. And actually, we need to understand that we also need time, like everything in nature. We are not going to change overnight. We are not going to become perfect people tomorrow. But we can start little by little, understand the process, understand the how things are working, and actually embrace every little steps and little victories that we have in life. And that way we understand we are always on this journey, always going forward. In the state of nature, the person has fewer needs. Their life is simpler without many tribulations. There's a movie that I really like it calls The Croods. It's about a caveman family. So I love it. And they have like the husband, the wife, 2 kids, and the mother-in-law live with them. So can you imagine the dynamic? And it really symbolizes what we were talking about back in the day, where the only needs they have, the only thing they care, it's about surviving, and the physiological needs. You know, you need to eat, you need to poop, you need to sleep. That's all they care. And the father is the one that really cares for their protection, their survival. For him, he will keep everybody inside the cave. Don't leave the cave. This is the safe place. Don't leave the cave. The whole movie. But he has a teenage daughter that she wants to go out. She wants to see the world. She loves the sunlight. She wants to see it. So that becomes the real friction, like in real life. Like we have this sense of protection. We have this sense of comfort, what we need. But then deep inside, we all have it in our lives, our teenagers, everybody has that feeling that wants to explore, that wants to learn, that aspiration, that energy that provokes us to go out, to see new things, to learn, to go places and explore. And that is the law of progress, that evolution eternal that guides us. We all have that feeling that sometimes it just clicks on us. We want to go out. We want to go and explore. We want to learn more. Even though it looks like we don't, we're just like sitting there, we have that naturally inside of us as human beings, as society. So we have that impulse time to time as a group to grow, to look for new things. And this law of progress does not apply only to man, it is universal. Like we were talking before, the universe, the solar system, our planet, our nature, the animals, the plants, us, we all go through this progress, this development, and this evolvement. We have a slide from Leon Denis. He says that mankind ascends to higher planes through work, effort, all the alternatives of joy and pain. So what we say is that mankind will all go through life, of course, through work and effort. And that's the way we learn and we evolve. And we always have choices to do it like by love, by joy, because we know it's necessary to be done something, or we wait until that thing bothers us so much, it's so painful that we are pushed for a change. And that can be anything in life, for the little thing in life to the most important thing in our lives. So we have those choices that when we learn a lesson, when we already know something that needs to be done, and we choose not to, that will, of course, at some point bothering us. But if we choose to just put some effort, some work, and do it, and we'll make our life easier. A ridiculous example is like, we need to trim our toenails. We have to do, we know we have to. We're not cavemen anymore. But sometimes we don't. And it starts bothering us, it starts being painful, it really gets an infection, and you have to do it. So you do it because you know you have to do it, or you wait until the pain, the physical pain, will get it to you. Sometimes our emotion is the same way. We know we need to do something about it, what's happening here. But then we wait until it's a point that it's bothering so much, it's so painful, it's infected, then we need to take care of it. Our society, the same way, there are changes, there are things that needs to be done. That we can do it, we know, and we can do it without going through a painful path. But sometimes we wait until something really bad happens. So we go back and think like, yeah, we need to change that. We need to do something about that. So progress is just like that. We are guided to do it, learning that it needs to be done through effort, to work. But sometimes we wait until it's painful, it's bothering really bad, so we can do it. But we have a choice. The Spiritans, We know that right now. We have a choice. We have the opportunity to not wait to that point and just do it because we know it needs to be done. Reincarnations are an unavoidable necessity of this spiritual progress. That's the only way we can learn, we can evolve, we can go through different lives and experiences and learning something else and growing with it. It's through reincarnations, it's through this experience in life that we do that. We need to see life as a school where we are tested. When we learn new things, we are tested. We need to prove that we learn or not. We are going to fail. We are going to have some victories. And then we're going to go each time. But each existence does not evolve more than a portion of efforts that needs to be accomplished in our lives as a spiritual life. Each experience just only takes a portion of what needs to be taken care of and needs to be learned. Take life as one grade each time. There's only so much we can do, we can learn, to a point that the soul, ourselves as spiritual persons, gets too exhausted of the whole process of life, learning, experiencing life, and need to take a rest. And because we live on a material, physical world, we have a very negative view of death. We still have a very negative view as that death is a punishment. Like, because we are so used to the physical world, the material world, we see death as like we're being punished. Somebody died, we think they're like a poor thing, he's being punished. But death, if we understand we in reality, we are spirits living on a physical experience right now, but our true selves, we're coming back home. When we die, we're going back home, just like on vacation from school, taking that time off to observe everything, go through everything that we learned, the things that we failed, the things that we accomplished, and prepare ourselves for a new grade, a new time in school, a new life. So when we change that view about death and life, it's easier for us to understand how hard it is here, how much we can accomplish, and how easier to let go that transition going back to the spiritual world can be. Especially when we deal with the ones that went before us, the ones that we love, and they are just back home where we're going to be sooner or later. So old passions, remorse, disappear. We will forget everything, and then we will create a new being and a new life, bringing some of that knowledge with us. We won't bring all the memories, and some people actually question that, why we don't remember everything. Because we already made some mistakes. We already went through life, and it will be easier to remember everything, so next life we're not going to make the same mistakes. But if we realize, we understand that every time that we come back on this life, we come back to a group, to a family, to a group of friends. We kind of meet each other again. And we never know who we're going to meet. It's not everybody that we had a good relationship in the past. It's going to be the ones that we're going to meet right here. Of course, we can tell by the way we have that energy, that connection in our family, our friends, etc. We have that good connection. We understand that that's a connection of love, not just from now, but from before. We know that this connection, this relationship, and this person in our life, it's more like a source of strength. It's a source of friendship and love. And we will come through our lives and meet people in our family, in our group of friends and co-workers that we don't have that same connection. Actually, we have a hard time to understand each other. The energy kind of don't don't connect. But those are the ones we need to put even more effort on it. Knowing that we kind of get together again with the ones that we learn how to love, have the connections, the ones that we need to forgive or ask for forgiveness. That's even better, knowing that that's the ones we need to work harder. We're not going to love each other just because we want to, like, mechanically love each other perfectly. But we need to work on that, the effort to, hey, I can work on this relationship. I understand that's not perfect, but I'm not perfect. I cannot ask for this person to be perfect either. So we go back and learn from each other. So we understand now why God, the Creator, just said, you know what, it's better wipe it out. Let's start fresh. We will bring our virtues, everything that we learn, our knowledge, but not the memories that will hurt us at this point. We need to learn to embrace each other as brothers and sisters without bringing all that baggage with us. So every effort results in a progress, and every progress in an ever greater power. Every little thing that we do in life, everything that we accomplish, it's a little grain of sand on our beach. It's a little thing that when it comes together, it makes us greater, it makes us bigger, and we are learning. We can ask too much from ourselves to the others. We need to learn and understand that we are all on the same path, on the same journey, and we are all learning. I think that sometimes we do that too much with our parents, for example. We actually believe, as a child, we saw them as heroes, and it's like super people. And when we realize they're just human, just like us, I believe that we get angry and we start asking for perfection it's not up to them. Because when we become parents, we realize that, hey, we are trying, we are learning as we go. And that's life in general. We are learning as we go as human beings. So sometimes we do expect perfection on others without understanding that we are all on this journey together. There's no perfect people here among us, not yet. We will get at that point one day. We are all participants in our destiny. We are all part of what it's going to be our life, our book of life. Each day is like a blank page. We have a choice to do different things, and we are learning, we are writing our life, and each incarnation will condition the next one. So that's very important for us to understand what we're doing right now, today. It's what it's going to determine what we're going to be tomorrow. People that has a problem with anxiety, people that's anxious, usually, I'm telling by my experience, the worst thing is that we are so worried about tomorrow. We are so worried about the future and suffering and going through problems that we start suffering and going through that imaginary problems today. So we live our worst nightmare today over and over again because we're afraid to go through that, but we are doing to ourselves. So let's understand that what we are living today, it's what it's going to build our tomorrow. So let's live today with everything that we have. And then tomorrow will come with the harvest, with the things that we're planting and we're, doing today. And that also works on lives and incarnations. What we're doing right now will influence in the next experience that we're going to have. The progress of humanity has two ways to work: the intellectual progress and moral progress. There are these two ways that goes by each side. Moral progress does not always accompany or goes together with the intellectual progress. Most people or most individuals or groups will make greater scientific progress and more slowly moralized. So the technology, the science, everything, the construction, everything, it's like it goes a little faster than the moral aspect on humanity. But with the increase of awareness between good and evil, when we develop the free will and we understand the responsibility that we have with our words, our actions, and even how we think, how everything will influence the others and this society, we start to learning and growing as humanity. When we realize that every single one is responsible for this path, for this journey, when we realize that everything is linked to each other, when we realize that we are all linked to each other. I believe this pandemic showed more than ever how we depend on each other. It's not only one person that needs to take care of himself. It's everybody, so we can all be okay. So we are all in the same boat. We're all getting there. So we need each other. And when we realize that words, feelings, and actions influence on everything in this world, we are going to the right path. Sometimes we know, we heard that before. We kind of know, but we need to feel it. We need to live it like we understand. And then we are going to the right path. Intellectual development does not imply the need to be good. Sometimes a person is very smart, it's very intelligent, but not necessarily a good person. It could be mean, could be evil. He just has the knowledge. And that's why we find many social injustice among nations that are very advanced in technology. Because it's not necessarily because they have high technology, they're intelligent, that they're good people or they care about each other. And that reflects on ourselves as human beings. So we need to pay attention on what we are doing, not only as a society that pushes for success, career, be somebody in life, and more like be happy in life. Be yourself in life. Generations ago, that's what we heard. You gotta go to school, you gotta be somebody, you gotta have a career, you gotta be successful. It's so competitive, this world. But now we are facing the times that we can't understand ourselves, we can't understand our feelings, our emotions. We have a hard time to find what's wrong with us. Our feelings, we can't explain because we've brushed to aside everything that was related to emotions, hearts. Boys don't cry. God forbid, Boys don't cry. What are you doing? So we've been brushed everything to aside and not dealing with this. And now we need to face it. We need to embrace it. Not only the intellectual, but the moral side of us, of our kids, of our society. Nations, they were so worried conquering continents, other nations, being rich, powerful. But yet, there are people suffering and hungry. There are people that don't have a house to live. So there are things that we need to find the balance between the intellectual and the moral progress. And that's what it's going to take us as a society, humanity, to a next level. When a clan leaves the savage or barbaric state and by virtue of progress acquires new knowledge, the process of civilization begins. But it's not complete yet. It doesn't, it's on a transitory stage. I mean, it's living from being a caveman. We're not gladiators anymore, but we're not complete either. We're not like a civilized either. because we can find so much hate in this world, so much injustice in this world. We cannot call ourselves a civilized people. The more civilized a nation becomes, we can recognize where it's less selfishness, less greed, less pride, where there's a good faith, more goodness, reciprocal generosity, and less prejudice. That's the goal for all of us, as a nation, as a society, but as a human being. Sometimes we really want to get better, wants to do better, but we have a hard time with the change. We have a hard time facing what needs to be done. And this moral impasse, this moral invitation, it's right upon of us. It's really in front of us, asking us to catch up. In this century that we're living right now, we have such a great, enormous advances on the fields like a technology, like a medical field. But yet, we need to catch up on the moral aspect. We see in the last 100 years, we have microwaves. We don't need to, deal with the coal and those ovens. We built the spaceships. We went to the moon. But yet we can find our hearts. We can explain our feelings. So there is time to take a little breath, take a little time, and really look to ourselves and each other, because we need to catch up on what we are doing with our society and our lives. You will only have the right to truly call yourselves civilized when you have finally banished the vices from your society that dishonor it, and when you finally live as brothers and sisters by practicing Christian charity. Until then, you are really not more than enlightened cultures that have passed through only the first phase of civilization. We need to understand that it's not because we sometimes believe that we are the highest intelligent on this universe, by the way. But we don't realize that until we learn how to live in society, learn how to treat each other with compassion, like brothers and sisters, we're nothing but passing through the first stage of civilization. I believe in Portuguese we said that we are cavemen with cell phones in the hand. That's all. Because we haven't learned to live as a society yet, truly as a Christian or a care society. So we need to look each other in the eye and care about each other so we can move on as a group. And that's the goal. We are on this planet to learn and evolve and get to perfection one day as a group. We're all in the same grade. We're going through school right now. So let's help each other. Let's be there for each other. The progress of humanity is, without a doubt, it's slow, but it's steady and uninterrupted. Sometimes it looks like nothing is going on. Sometimes it looks like we're going backwards. But that's just part of the process. We don't have a bigger view. If we were like on a different situation, a viewpoint that our mentors are, they see that we are going. Sometimes very slow, but we are moving forward. If we look for, the society, humanity itself, back 200, 300 years ago, 500 years ago, we went a long way. We have much more ahead of us. But we did some progress, and that's good too. We need to embrace those little progress, but at the same time be aware that we need to do more, we need to be more. What always drives people forward are new ideas that are translated by missionaries in charge with that activating this march. So sometimes we do have in the field of medicine or science or religion, emotion, people that will come with a knowledge that will bring some kind of help for us as a society, push us ahead a little bit towards a better vision, a better knowledge of what we're going through. And then Spiritism is not only intended to open a different field of research to science, but mainly to mark a new era in history of humanity. Through the profound revelation and revolution it provokes in its thoughts and ideas, driving towards a spiritual elevation through living guided by the gospel. So the Spiritism does not only come to push the science to understand the spiritual world, the spirits, the communication between them, but also to invite us to go through the example of the gospel, the changes that needs to be done in ourselves in order to move forward. That's the purpose. And that's why the third revelation didn't come in a single point of the planet like the two that preceded. We see the Spiritism coming in many points, expanding the truth. Perhaps we wonder if this is so, if Spiritism is destined to apply a great influence, why don't spirits unleash a wave of manifestations, bringing information and proving life in the afterlife? Many of us can, ask that question. If that's the key, if that's the answer, why don't we have spirits all over the place showing up through mediumship, proving over and over again there is a life after life. There is that possibility of the communication between here and then. And then that's what Allan Kardec asked the spirits. And the answer was, you desire miracles, but God has sown so-called miracles by the handful right under your feet. Yet, you still have people who deny them. Sometimes we just don't want to see it. Did Christ himself convince his contemporaries by the wonders he performed? Even today, don't you see those who deny the most obvious facts occurring under their very eyes? Aren't there those who would not believe even if they did see them? No, it's not by miracles that God guides humankind. Out of divine goodness, God wishes to leave it to the merit of being convincing through reason. So it's up to us. It's up to us to find those answers. And of course, we have in time to time missionaries, great people that come and trying to show us the miracles, the lessons. And it's up to us to open our eyes to see it. There's a saying in English I learned like less than a year ago, and I keep using all the time because I think it's wonderful. You can take a horse to the water, but you cannot make the horse drink it. Something like that. So we are thirsty right now. We're all thirsty. Our society is thirsty. We have so many things that can help us. We have the spiritists, we have books, we have people trying to help us. But we have everything in front of us, but we cannot force anybody to do it. And nobody can force us to do it. We need to have that step. So we are the horses right now. We are thirsty, and we have so much water in front of us. But not even God can force us to drink. We need to have that first step. We need to want it so we can start absorbing, we can start learning, and we can start living those lessons. Let's look for help. Let's reach out and help. Let's look in each other's eyes. Instead of texting, let's call and listen to our voices. We're getting used to just words and emojis. So it's easier to understand what the other person is feeling by their voice, not for the smiley face or sad face, tear, angry. We need to get out of this robotic way to communicate and go back to look in the eyes and talk to each other. We came a long way. We have a long, long way in front of us still. But we can do it. We've done in the past. We're going fine. But we need the awareness that this is necessary. We need to go with this progress that needs to be done. Our humanity, our society is going through some changes that's necessary as well. We need to be part of it with love and care. And that way we will not live in a better place, but we will have a better place for the generations that are coming. The ones that have kids, we want a better place for our kids, but we also want to live in a better place. And it's in our hands. We cannot just, like we say in my country, we just can brush under the rug all the dirt and pretend that everything is fine, everything is clean, everything is fine. But if we don't acknowledge, we face it, then we change it. Until we don't face it, we can't change it. We can't change it what we won't see, what we don't see it. I appreciate your attention, and I hope that somehow we can take something with us, and that little thing, like I was saying at the beginning, that little things that sometimes it seems so little, but at the end we will see that we came a long way. We look back and we're doing some progress, and we should embrace ourselves. We should love ourselves that way we can love others. Sometimes we need to take care of ourselves so we can care for others. That's part of the evolution. That's part of the progress and individual progress as well. Thank you for attention. Good night.